Two people were kissing passionately when the man arrives at their house. People then get scared and start hiding from the man. The woman asks her husband why he got home so early, but he says he just forgot his keys and went there to look for them. He then realizes that something was different, asks his wife what was going on. She asks him what he was talking about, and he says that earlier she had said that she was very sick and that she would not get out of bed that day, but now she was standing there and she was acting strangely. She then says that although she was still very sick, she went down a bit to the living room as her room was very hot and she could no longer stay there. She asks her husband how her work was going and tells him that he didn't have to worry about her as she would soon be better. He says that he cared a lot about his wife and says that his work was fine and that he would soon be back there. He then kisses his wife and says he would do anything to make her feel better. She thanks the man and says he was actually very kind. He then says that he now goes to his bedroom so that he can prepare some things for his wife while she was in the living room. She said that she would soon be with him, but that she would have prepared some coffee first for them to drink. He was leaving and says that before he left, he wanted to give his beloved wife a kiss. He then told his wife that she needn't worry as soon he would be back to take care of her, and then says goodbye to her and leaves. As he leaves, the other man asks the woman how she could stand being by that person's side. She says she also didn't know how she could stand being by her husband's side, but she couldn't do anything about it. At that moment, the man returns home and she asks why he came back so soon. He tells her that she didn't need to worry and lie to him as he already knew everything that was going on. She asks what he was talking about and he says she didn't need to leave her house as everything she needed was already there. She says that, because of her fever, she hadn't thought straight about the one who apologizes for her husband. He then told her that she needn't worry as he would stay by her side to take care of her until she got better. He then goes to the kitchen and when he is there, he starts looking for some things. At this point, he asks his wife what she was doing while he was away. She said she was reading and he asks her what book she was reading. She said she was reading some books about cooking so she could learn how to cook for her husband. He said he was glad to hear that and then tomorrow says he had a favor to ask for the man. She said she needed a pillow as she was uncomfortable in that chair and asked him to get one. He said he would pick it up and go to their room. As he leaves, the other man asks her why she asked for it, as they were already very hot. She then says that the other man knew her brother well and that he was not going to leave. At this point, he comes back when the first question why must have brought such a big one, but he says that she needed to get comfortable in that chair. Man, Tom, begins to find it strange what was happening and asks what had happened to his wife's legs. She says that nothing much had happened, and when the man tries to put his hand on her leg, the leg starts moving. He asks her what had happened and she says she was startled by his touch. He then says he didn't worry about it and then says he would go to the kitchen to prepare something for her. When he goes to the kitchen, the other man says he needs to get out of there, but the woman said that if her husband saw that he was there, she didn't know what he would be able to do, so he couldn't get out of there. He then said that he had finished preparing some soup for his wife and when he goes to her, he ends up knocking over the foot that was there. She then says that the soup was too hot and the man said he would fetch her an ointment. He says he'll be back soon, but as he was leaving, he said he needed to talk to her before he went. She told him to stop it, because it was hurting so much from the bruise the soup had made on his foot. He then says that he didn't want to talk to his wife at that moment, that he wanted to talk to his brother, but she said that his brother wasn't there. He then removes the blanket that was over his brother and asks him what he was doing there. The other man said he could explain, but the man says he didn't want to know. The woman then tells her husband that they were just playing a prank on the man, but the man says that he knew it wasn't a prank because they were cheating on him. The other man said it wasn't true, but the man says his neighbor told him everything. The woman then said that her neighbor was a liar and that the man could not trust her. The man then shows a video where his brother went up to the woman. He asks her if her brother is gone yet, and she says yes, and that she was tired of being by her husband's side. They then kiss and enter the house, but the neighbor was recording the whole thing. The woman then said she could explain what had happened, but the man says he wasn't surprised, he said it happened. He then hands her a piece of paper, saying it was a surprise. She asks him what it was, and he says it was their divorce papers. He said he wanted her to get her things and leave his house with his brother. The brother says he couldn't do that since they were from the same family, but the man says he didn't have a brother or wife anymore. As he leaves, the woman asks another man what they were going to do now. He then says he didn't know, and the woman says it was all his fault and that he shouldn't be by her side anymore. He then says that his brother had told him that they were in this together and that he wanted him out of there. She then becomes desperate and wonders, how did she do that? The man then goes to his neighbor and she asks him what had happened. He said she was right, that his wife was really cheating on him with the model. She asks how his wife could have done that to him, because any woman would want to be by his side. He thanks her for the help she had given. She then tells the man that she was very sad about what had happened to him, but he says that he didn't care about it and that he wouldn't be sorry. He then said he had an invitation for his neighbor, and she asks what an invitation would be. He said he knew it was too early, but that he wanted to go out with her so they could get to know each other better. The neighbor says that although she doesn't usually accept this kind of invitation, she always thought that the man's wife was very lucky to have married him. She then says that they accepted the man's invitation and the two leave together.